Welcome everybody. In this instructional video, I'm going to show you how to put together a hive body two different ways, using a hammer and nail and also using pneumatic equipment to increase your efficiency and speed as you're putting together hive bodies. Now, if you're putting together any number of hive bodies, a hammer and nail does work, but just like everything when it comes to beekeeping and assembling equipment, if you can use pneumatic equipment, it is highly advantageous from both a speed perspective, but also just the construction overall. You can tend to use on hive bodies a lot longer nails than you can if you're just using hammer and nail. So I'm going to show you how to do both of those today in this instructional video. So as we get ready to put together our hive body, let's take a note of what tools we're going to need to do this work. If we're going to use hammer and nail, you're going to need a hammer and you're going to need 2-inch galvanized nails. Those are 6D nails that you would be using for that exterior. And if you decide to go the route of pneumatic equipment, which I highly recommend, you're going to need a framing nailer with 3-inch nails. I like to use 3-inch nails because they just keep everything together for a very long time. And those are galvanized nails. The other thing you're going to need is your Titebond 3 or waterproof glue. It is very important that you use waterproof glue when you're putting these hive bodies together because this is the exterior most component of your hive. It's going to be exposed to all the elements. And then the last thing you're going to need are your components. And you have 4 pieces, the side pieces, and the front and back pieces for your hive body. Now, let's put this together. Okay, so I've got all my hive body components laid out here so that I can glue them up. Now, the big thing to always be aware of is to make sure that your handholds are on the outside of your hive body. You do not want to have those facing inside when you nail them together. So just make sure you got that under control. First thing we're going to do, Titebond 3, we're going to add that to all of these flat pieces where these joints are going to come together. Now, if you get a little too much on there, you can always wipe it off afterwards. It's not a big deal, but you definitely don't want to put too little. This glue is very important. It's actually stronger when this bonds. It's actually stronger than the nails itself. All right, so now we start putting it together. Now, I have seen people that like to use assembly jigs for doing hive bodies because they're worried about hive bodies being square when they're put together. I have been doing this for 15 years, and I have never had an issue with hive bodies not being square from the manufacturer. You want to make sure you got a little bit of a hammer, come and get these joints together. But essentially, you can pretty much eyeball this for square. It does not have to be perfect, but when you get this all together, they line up pretty darn perfect. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start on one side with our hammer and nail. Pretty easy. They usually have pre-drilled holes in them, so you can just line up nails and then make sure your joints are tight. Your other side here. Again, you're going to want to just make sure things are nice and tight. Might have to give it a little bit of a tap there as you're just ensuring that's all nice and secure before you nail it in. Flip over, do the other side. Make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, so we've got the two sides done. Now we're going to do the tops, or the front and back, however you want to look at that. right, and just like that, we've got our fully assembled hive body. Okay, now let's do the same thing with our pneumatic nail gun. So again, we're just going to glue everything up. All right, let's put it all together. Again, sometimes those joints can be a little firm. That's why we keep a hammer around in case we need it. All right, tighten it all up. Okay, now you can start on either side. I'm going to go ahead and start on this side right here. We've got our pneumatic gun right here, our pneumatic air nailer, framing nailer. And there we go, our assembled box. That easy.